Hi friends, getting started a little early today, but I hope that works well for everyone. And sorry it's been a while since I've been on and shared, but I think this sermon from last week at Missing Piece will make sense out of that. This is my first sermon on my new computer. My first sermon since our house was robbed and all our most expensive possessions pilfered. My first sermon since a deranged shooter killed 50 people in a nightclub in my hometown. My first sermon since the world has changed. And it has changed. It feels different now. Maybe not forever, but for now, my heart is heavy. There's this very deep, dull ache in the center of my being, and my eyes keep trying to siphon it out in wet streams down my face. The world has changed. Are we losing? I was listening to Rob Bell's podcast this week, and he asked this really hard but important question. Are we losing? Sometimes I look around and it feels like we're losing. It feels like the darkness has become too great. War, poverty, theft, illness, mass shootings right in my backyard. The ache seems to throb and swell with the thought of it all. It's all just too much. But deep in the core of us, we are rebelling against it. All walks of life are railing against the deep wrongness of it all. Whether Christian or Muslim or agnostic or atheist or Republican or Democrat or American or international or gay or straight or whatever, we all agree. We all feel the internal wail, the anguished cry that this is not right. Don't give me that everything happens for a reason crap. I don't want to hear it. Don't try to make light of it. Don't try to turn it into some kind of moral at the end of an after-school special. I'm not interested. There's no reason for this. There's no moral to this story. It's just wrong. In Rob Bell's cast, he asks, is our hope just an empty exercise? It is, when we try to smear a big glob of optimism over the shit sandwich of death and destruction. You cannot fix this with a Bible verse or a Facebook post or an inspirational quote, and certainly not with a gun. These things, these horrible acts that make the deepest, most human parts of us sicken and shriek and cry, these things are not to be fixed. But they're also not to overcome us. Perhaps a kitschy meme about hope is an empty exercise, but there's another kind of hope that the posts and the verses and the videos and the vigils and all the rest are pointing to. We will not be comforted by reflections, but what they represent. That place that connects us in a united cry against injustice and poverty and senseless acts of violence. That place we all share that whispers that this is not the way it was supposed to be, and beckons us towards something different. If you're not prepared to call that God, fine. We can still unite our voices and our efforts to live into something better. It is of little consequence that I say God and you say the light or the energy or the universe. It matters not that I call the something better the kingdom of heaven and you call it a better world. It's merely just semantics. Instead, let us unite our voices and our efforts and our hope around goodness and peace and love. We can all play a role in that. In every candlelight, in every tear shed, and every time we choose love over hate and hope over despair and peace over war. All of us can play a role in that. And when we can't, when there's too much hate and despair and war, let us lean on each other. Let my hope buoy you up in your despair and yours in mine. Let your love overcome my hate when I don't have the energy. Let others' peace fill you up when war seems like the only option. But let us not become complacent in our efforts. What does the Lord require of you? To do justice, to love kindness, and to walk humbly. Peace does not, in no uncertain terms, does not mean passivity. We must be active in our love for one another, in our sharing of peace and hope. No one can steal or murder or infect that. And when they try, it only fans the flames of our solidarity and hope. One man may be able to senselessly murder and injure a club full of people, and we will hurt and ache and cry and mourn them. But we will not become passive. We will not respond to the hate and the anger with more bloodshed and more exclusion. We will not. We refuse. But neither will we become passive and do nothing. Instead, we will love each other even more and find powerful ways of expressing that. We will hope even harder for a world where that kind of violence doesn't happen. We will actively pursue peace in our hearts and in our world. The darkness does not get the last word. We are even more powerful in our pain. So take your pain and your frustration and your anger, and instead of focusing it on someone or something, transform it. Take it and transform it into a good act, into loving someone fiercely, into solidarity with the fallen and the grieving, into doing justice and loving kindness and walking humbly. That's real hope. It lives even in our deepest wounds. It gets you out of bed when nothing else can. It transforms the evil into goodness. The world has changed, but we won't let it be for the worse. We will shine our love in the face of evil. We will squelch despair with our hope. We will become more and better and hopeful in ways the darkness never could imagine. This is a dark chapter, but it is not the final word. It's the message of the gospel. It's the hope of everything that Jesus taught. It's the candlelight flickering around the world. Love will win. Amen. Thanks for sharing in this time. And I hope this message meant something to you, because it was deeply healing and cathartic for me and for the group of us that shared last Sunday at Missing Peace. As always, check in on Missing Peace through our Facebook page or website, and we invite you to join us any Sunday at 10:30. Take care and God bless, and stay hopeful, my friends.